Hey, what's going on with the voice?
What happened here?
Is it bugging you guys?
I must have stopped it. Let me try again.
Okay. Twitch is live. YouTube is live. Welcome back, everybody. We are standing by to record.
And we are recording and got my straw set.
Everybody else in?
I'm getting a bounce back echo.
Oh, weird. I'm okay on my end.
Let's roll.
Well, he's not going to be able to do his intro if he can't hear himself in real time. Is it just you or is it all of us?
It's just me.
Do you want to leave and come back?
Sure.
All right. Stop QuickTime?
Nope.
Okay. I'll stay in QuickTime.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Okay, that's good.
Your stream was your ticket out.
Welcome back to the same old place that you laughed about.
This is Penn Sunday School.
It is.
And to our listening ears, all nature sings and round us rings the music of the spring. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers, sisters, siblings, welcome to Penn Sunday School starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Guido. Matt Family, Ricky Rich, Ben, and I are broadcasting from our separate homes in Las Vegas.
This is Penn Sunday School.
This week, we're going to try to find a new vocabulary word for a Godot project. We'll read some viewer mail, and maybe we'll even get to some cool updates. Here is Preach and Love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Yeah, we are preaching love inexplicably in good moods. All of us.
Yeah.
All of us. All of us inexplicably in good moods. No reason for it whatsoever.
None.
We had a little bit of unfinished business. We asked people to say good things about Trump. Godot went, I went, Matt went. Ready? Shoot.
I have a swing and a miss. I'll start with the miss. I would like to say that he has exposed how media works to people who don't work in media. But it seems to me that people are just using that opportunity to further go down the well and not look at the other side.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's the miss. My hit is I used to want a president that would say no to Congress. And now I see the value of somebody who is just happy as pigs in shit to cash the corporate master's checks and do nothing.
So there we go. We have done that. We have done that task. Now we want to get to fool us, but you had a garage sale.
I did. Yeah.
How did you do that at the time of COVID?
Well, our neighbors are moving. And so they were going to have a garage sale. And so we thought we could put some stuff out on our driveway. And Vegas is a unique place to have a garage sale because anyone knows if you have a garage sale and you say it starts at like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., someone's on your lawn at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That's not the case in Vegas. No one gets up early and shows up. And everyone came masked up. There's no one came without masks, and we had masks on, and we had, sanitizer and gloves at the ready if we needed. And we didn't have a lot of stuff out. We just put some things out, hoping to get away.
What was the real cherry item in the Donnelly garage sale?
We had a really nice we had really nice basic baby stuff. So really nice car seats and bases and really nice strollers and a nice bed, a really really high end.
Baby transport. High in the baby transport.
Did it go to the right people?
It did. It went to some people for some good deals, and it's just I don't know if it was the pandemic was worth this happening, but my wife's perception of perceived value in products is now caught up with how these things are supposed to work. So before, if we had like an old kitchen table set that we had bought for $900, she would want to sell it for $900. And it was really hard to kind of win any kind of battle where I'd be like, but that's not now. It's like we kept it in perfect condition. It's like we certainly have. We certainly have.
Once you drive that dining room set off the lot.
It took a while before I was like, hey, we should donate that to people in need. And then that was when she was like, all right, I'll sell it for $250. And I was like, okay. So
there's that weird thing that's just true that people think stuff they own is worth more. And and the trick that I use that's really brutal is to ask, would you pay this for this now?
Oh yeah.
What it's worth,
Right.
And that makes me get rid of a lot of stuff. I have some artwork that's very valuable. And I look at it and go, that's on the wall now. Would I pay X amount for that? No, sell it.
I was very proud of my wife for, if you look at it from the perspective of like,
by the way, I am aware it was backwards. Go ahead.
Okay. That if someone's willing to pay you to take stuff out of your garage, you take that money no matter what it is.
Whatever they offer.
Whatever they offer. It's leaving your garage, and that means a lot to us.
If it's there at 11 a.m., you've screwed up the pricing. The first person in should go, oh, I'll take it all.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I really remember. When I did Celebrity Apprentice, I was on with Trace Adkins.
Yeah.
And Trace Adkins, country guy, he did Honky Tonk Badonka Donk.
Yes.
Hit.
He sure did.
He also told a great story. He has a very low, he's my size, my height. Actually, I'm thinner than him now. And he has a very, very low voice. And there's one really low note he can hit in his country songs that's really low and sexy. And he said when he met Buck Owens, he played and sang a song for Buck Owens. And Buck Owens said to him at the end of it, that low note you hit there in that song? And Trey said, yes. He said, hit that every song because it's all you have going for you. But Trace Adkins was playing for Red Cross.
Yeah.
The Red Cross. And his little speech that we all had about why this charity was chosen was because when his house burned down, nobody in his family was there, but his entire house burned down. They were there to help. And when the cameras are off, I said, Trace, were you really happy when your house burned down? He said, oh, greatest thing ever happened to me. He said, there was a guitar that Buck Owens gave to me that I missed for 3 minutes. And everything else was joyous. Wedding albums, family albums, motorcycle, all of that, seeing it just, smoking on the hill was fabulous.
Well, you probably have the same thing. I have a closet full of shirts from everywhere I've ever worked and everyone I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
I have
and,
a Mofo
lanyards.
T-shirt and lanyards.
Yeah.
And I like the lanyards, and I keep the shirts. I could never throw away Mofo nose.
Yeah.
But I sure wish I could.
Well, even
That's
now,
why combining it with oxygen is such a good idea.
I think that's the new plan.
Your Mofo T-shirt combined with oxygen would be wonderful. Now I realize this can seem very, very insensitive with the fires we've had in the web. Please
Oh,
forgive.
yes.
It is.
Please forgive me, but I don't mean that literally. Of course, there's hyperbole, but the idea of getting rid of shit in your house is so seductive.
Yeah. And if I find something where, where I remember, oh, this is from this special time, then I tell myself, and this is the moment you kept it for, right now. I found it now. It's later. I remember that memory.
I had
when I was trying to clean my closet, I had to stop for one moment
Yes.
and then not throw it away and put it there until next time.
I've been throwing things out.
There was a band in the 70s called the Plasmatics.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy Orleans Williams, which spells wow. And she was topless with big aftermarket breasts and a big mohawk. And they were a very, very crazy punk band. As a matter of fact, the guitar player, who was taller than me and skinny and wore a dress and a blue mohawk and played guitar, is now a college professor. But the Plasmatics were a big deal.
Mm.
And I saw them several times live. And one of the things that Wendy would do during her show was while a guitar was plugged in and playing, she would chainsaw it in half. They also fired shotguns and stuff during their show. And she would chainsaw the guitar in half and then throw the pieces into the audience. She threw the piece into the audience, the best part, the neck and I caught it. Then after the show, I waited around afterwards and got Richie and Wendy and the whole band to sign it. And I had that guitar on a shelf. And then I a friend of mine showed me her tattoo. And she had Wendy Orleans Williams tattooed on her arm. She loved the Plasmatics. And she's a friend, friend of the family, friend of my wife's mostly. And her birthday was coming up, and I said, let's give her this. And I had this thing that was on my shelf that I thought was pretty boss, but boy, someone else liked it so much more.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
So you had your garage sale. Did everything go?
Yeah, enough went that our garage was cleared out. I felt really good about it. It was a win. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, here's rope I bought from Home Depot because I didn't understand that magician's rope was different than rope, and I wanted to practice when I first started magic. Why do we have this rope? I don't even want to answer the question. Let's sell it.
You said you got rid of a lot of stuff you didn't need. So you have one child now?
Yeah, the one that didn't want to sell stuff for money. The one that wanted to hold on to all of his old books that he'll never read.
You just put a price tag on him.
Yeah, he's gone.
Now Keeler went to a very nice family.
So someone was like, "This is a nice rope." Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a legit mountain climbing rope. $1? Yeah, $1. Yeah, sure.
Will you take it? Yes.
No haggling. There's no haggling involved. Sure is worth whatever you just said. I was like, I'm not putting it back in the garage. Yeah, there's no price.
You come by in an hour, I'll throw it out in the gutter and you can just pick it up.
Well, what's fun is, so it's obviously it was COVID and everything else. So, I mean, this happened before COVID, but people just drive by, look, and then peel off, And it's so strange, but nostalgically, I still get that sense of rejection. like they drive and they take off, and it's like reminds me of like when I used to have the flyer for shows in New York City and stuff, where you're just like, for free comedy. Then you're like, oh God, nobody likes me.
When eBay first hit, and eBay had been around for like a year.
Yeah.
I was at a trade show, and I was hired by a probably billionaire, but certainly 100 millionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him about something he was doing. And this is a guy with $100 million. He had hired 5 people. And every Saturday and Sunday, they would get a truck and they would go to every garage sale, pull up and say, how much for everything? Everything. Without looking at it. They would load everything into the truck. And then those 5 people all week spent time photographing it, pricing it, putting it on eBay.
Oh, wow.
He said, you're making money? He said, making enough money to buy the truck, pay the 5 people and all their benefits, and make it worth my time.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Because, garage sale stuff, you get a monkey's lunchbox.
Yeah.
All you're going to sell that at a garage sale for is $1.00. Put that in the right place on eBay, right, Reddy?
Yep.
Get some decent money for that.
Yeah.
Now, that's
I
not
was
true
in-
anymore because so many people have discovered it. But when it was first starting out, it was amazing.
I was in Athens doing a show, walking through like street, just like a weekend garage sales that they had every week, where the whole town would
Georgia
show.
or Greece?
Greece. And I thought, if I could just put up a live feed onto my head and a microphone into my ear and just walk around, I bet there are people all over the world interested in some of these things. You know what I mean? I can't tell what they are, but this is something interesting. If you stood in front of it long enough, someone would call in and say, give them $100. You know what I mean?
There's a whole business I read about. There's a whole business in people who search eBay for things that are mislabeled.
Misspelled, yeah. Chandeliers
Spelled.
is the best, yeah.
And then they buy it and then correct the spelling and sell it again instantly.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes making the person send it to the new person.
Right. Like I said, I think chandelier is the big one. No one knows how to spell chandelier.
Well, I can't disprove that.
See? Just saying.
So, haircut in a garage sale. You've been hiking? Is that right, Godot?
I have. I've been hiking a lot, hiking and shopping for plates. I tumbled down a hill yesterday out at Lake Mead. I'm injured.
Now, see, this does not make it. You invited me to go with you on a hike.
I know this was not a good. You shouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have invited you on this one.
That should be your number one sign. That should be your own standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Would Penn go with me on this?
Would Penn go with me? Well, no, my son wanted to go drive his remote control boat out in Lake Mead. So we went out and then hiked down this steep slope where I tripped and tumbled down the hill and broke his boat. So not a good day.
Better his boat than your spine.
I wish he saw it that way. And eventually he did. After a while, he went, you know what, Adam? I'm glad you're okay.
To talk filial events, last night I was watching television. My mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter are in L.A., moving my mother-in-law out of the house she just sold. And so the boys of the Gillette family, Tater, our dog, Z, and me are here alone. I was watching TV, and Z came into the home theater and said, Dad, my friends want you to play a video game with us. I was over the moon. So I went into the room, and it's a game called Among Us, where
I was just going to recommend that to you. I was waiting for the segment to end.
and 2 of them are assigned at random to be assassins, and you're working on a ship, and you don't know who the assassin is, and the assassins try to kill everybody before the others figure out who the assassins are. It's very popular now.
Yeah, there's
And
a
I
bunch of
went
those.
in and made my name Z-Dad, and I was there with a pack of 14-year-old boys who were yelling at me, dude, Z-Dad, you were in the engineering room. I think it's Z-Dad that did this. They said, when I came on, they said, Z, it's so cool that your dad is going to play with us. Is he sensitive about language? And I said, no fucking obscenity while I'm on. And they went, good. And one of their names was Piss Baby. And we were in playing this game. And when you get killed, you become a ghost and you move around invisibly, but you can talk among yourselves and accomplish certain things. And when I was the assassin, called the imposter, when I was the imposter, all the ghosts were working with me, trying to help me. They wanted Z-Dad to win. And Z-Dad came very close to winning, but didn't do that well. That was when one of them said to me, wait a minute, Z-Dad, where were you? And I said, I was in the engineering room. And he said, no, you weren't.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I was. But it was quite an honor. As they say, an honor to even be nominated.
Did they curse a lot at each other?
If you consider dude a curse word, yes. I do.
I went into the VR chat on the Oculus with my daughter. She said, I'm doing this. Come see this sometime. And I put that on and went in there. And there are a billion people there, first off, and they're all in their avatars. All avatars and stuff. And just the first one came up to me and said, what are you doing? And I just panicked and threw it off and ran away. It just felt too crazy and creepy. I don't want to be the old guy in the VR chat room. Said, hey, what are you doing?
Be there with my name, Z-Dad, with 8 of his friends that all knew him.
Right.
Did not creepy.
That seems better. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a very small game, and the critical point is every round it's an experiment in lying.
Yeah,
right.
Which is why I thought you would love it.
I do love it. It's a good game. It came out 2 years ago, and it's all of a sudden become enormously popular.
There's a bunch of card game versions of it for reality based, I guess, or
in real life.
In real life, yeah. Secret Hitler is that same sort of game, and there's a few versions of it that are all.
There's also bullshit.
Yep.
Where you put down the cards and lie about them.
Oh yeah.
Which I play. I don't lie. I just put down more cards than I say. That's one of the things you're allowed to do. You can say 2 3s, and while everybody's looking to see if it's likely you have 2 3s, I really do have 2 3s, and I put down 8 cards. That's a pile when I do it.
Inside.
With our ever-changing routines, there's never been a better time to learn something new. With thousands of options available, finding the best way to learn can be challenging. My recommendation is an app called Blinkist. Yesterday I was talking to David Greenberger. We were talking about condensing books, and he has a friend whose mother had that as a job, condensing books. And I said that Blinkist does it so well. It's astonishing how well they do it. Blinkist is unique and powerful. It works on your phone, your tablet, or your web browser. Blinkist gives you the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from over 3,000 nonfiction bestsellers in over 27 categories. Blinkist condenses them down into blinks, which you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. And now Blinkist offers its members even more, including exclusive original podcasts from top authors and creative thinkers. You still get access to the entire Blinkist library with your membership, and now you can also dive deeper into full-length nonfiction audiobooks at a special discounted price. Over 14 million people use Blinkist to deepen their knowledge in topics spanning self-improvement, personal growth, management, leadership, and mindfulness, happiness, and more. It's really great, for practicing something. If you got something you're practicing, this is probably limits it to our audience, but for me, juggling, and you want to just have some audio content, it's amazing. It's great for driving. It's just the perfect way to learn what you're going to remember anyway. What you remember anyway. I listened to a few of them, but there's The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape. Everything is Fucked, a book about hope. Sapiens, which is, most important book of the past 5 years. Becoming by Michelle Obama, which Piff told me to listen to this one. He said it's great. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Outgrowing God by Richard Dawkins. Hacking Darwin by Jamie Metzel. It's just really great. Right now, Blinkist is a special office just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/Penn. Start your free 7-day trial and get 25% off a Blinkist premium membership and up to 65% off audiobooks, yours to keep forever. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/Penn.
PENN.
To get 25% off a premium membership and a 7-day free trial. Blinkist.com/Penn. Oh, yeah. And while we're on the subject of ads, if people want to not listen to the ads and pay us directly, what do they do, Matt Donnelly?
Go to patreon.com/Penn, patreon.com/Penn for access to the entire back catalog of Penn Sunday School and ad-free versions of all future episodes. Get on board.
For $5.
$5.
Plus, there's lots of other stuff we're offering. I do cameos. If you want me to say happy birthday to someone or sing a song or do whatever you want, performance art, go to cameo.com, look for me, Penn, and I'll do pretty much whatever you want. Just ask me and I'll do it. And soon that'll be moving. We'll also be doing stuff like that on Patreon.
The chat is already asking what the Patreon price point for Penn playing Among Us is.
Among Us? Oh, I don't know. We should add that in. I want to get better at it first.
Well, you keep us posted because that certainly seems like
That's a fun one.
That's a fun perk for the divine tier.
Some of the people on Cameo have prices for like watching a movie with you online.
Yeah, zooming in or whatever. Yeah.
The movie night people are considering hiring one of the stars of Blacklist to watch with us. What's the guy's name? Do you know the guy's name?
His real name? No, he plays the character of Aram.
Aram.
On the
because Aram is available, but we need to tell Aram as politely as we can that we have fun when we're watching the show and aren't entirely kind.
to his character in particular.
No,
actually, not in particular. No, we're mean across the board. Actually, the character whoever plays wrestler, that person would have a hard time. We are most unkind to wrestler, and we are kindest to Dembe.
Amir Arison is the actor.
Amir Arison, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe if he'd like to come into movie night, we would love it. So you did some tire repair, Godot?
You know what? When I was up near San Francisco visiting our Dr. Rich Ross, our squid pal. His scooter had blown a tire, and I told him I would repair it for him because I was staying at his house and we were social distancing, so we weren't really standing really close to each other. So I bought a can of that inflated tire stuff. It's supposed to put goo in your tire. Yeah. So I bought a can of that and went out in his backyard and hooked up the little scooter and turned it on to fill it up, and it ran for 30 seconds and then stopped. And I couldn't figure out why it had stopped. It was clearly still a lot in the can. And I bent over and tried to squirm it around to see what was going on. And the tire exploded. And that rubbery goo stuff was spraying all over me and my hair and all over my arms and eyes and clothes. And it was really loud.
I had a tire blow up when I was filling up at a filling station.
Yeah.
Way back when people said things like filling station.
Yeah.
And I was like 17 and I was deaf in my left ear for a couple hours.
Yeah. I spent the first 30 seconds assessing whether I was dead or not. Have I been poked? Am I going to be killed? Is there something wrong? And then I realized I was covered with this goo, and I thought, oh God, I got to get inside and get this off. It's probably caustic. And so I ran into Rich's house and jumped into the shower and started showering and went to wash my hair to get the goo out of the hair. And I didn't realize that the shampoo he had is tea tree oil,
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
which is like really caustic.
Yep.
So I'm trying to wash my hair with this stuff. And I'm like, my God, it's getting worse. Oh man, this stuff is going to kill me.
I
And then I washed, the rest of my body off. And the only soap that he had was Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. So it was really caustic. So I was a little panic stricken for a while. I thought I was being eaten by acids.
the tire blowing up in my ear was louder than Hot Tuna, which was the loudest band I ever heard when I was 18.
No.
My bike, which I love, is called an Alibi,
Uh-huh.
and the tires don't have air in them,
Good
and
idea.
the chains don't have grease on them.
Mm.
And I didn't ride it for 8 months. It was covered with dirt. Jumped on it, everything worked perfectly.
That
Wow.
sounds great.
I
Nice.
is it nice to ride a bike without air in the tires?
Oh, it's fabulous. Everything's good about it.
As long as
What
it's made for
company?
that.
It's a company called Specialized
Yeah, specialized. Yeah, as a bike company.
Specialized Alibi. It's called a commuting bike. It's the greatest thing ever.
Nice.
Cool.
Very
You know how Tim Jennison exercises?
Yeah,
I don't.
I do. It's great.
He has a trike that has an electric motor on it.
Oh,
At
yes.
2 in the morning, he gets on it. He rides as fast and as hard as he can for like an hour until he's exhausted, and then puts it on battery power and rides home like a motorcycle.
That's the turnaround point Godot is looking for his hiking term.
That's the vocabulary word I want to find out. I was out hiking at the Grand Canyon 2 weeks ago, and there's a sign on the side of the trail that said transept with an arrow. And I didn't know what transept means, and I went and looked it up, and it just kind of a transverse parts of a building, at least intersection kind of. But it occurred to me, maybe it's the word for the point where you give up on a hike and turn around to go back. And then it occurred to me, I bet there is in some language a word that means that, the point on a hike where you turn around and go back.
Well, it turns out that the word for the Italian clowning language is
That would be
gramalot.
great. Gramalot.
Gramalot?
Gramalot. And since nobody knows that, why don't you just take that one?
Well, because I really like the story, probably apocryphal, of P.T. Barnum's "This Way to the Egress,"
Yeah.
and I like I want to be able to put signs on hiking trails that have this word on it and an arrow.
The story
That's my
in case
art
you don't know,
project.
is P.T. Barnum, in the story, was having trouble with people spending too long in his museum. So he couldn't pack in the bodies. So he put up a sign that said, "This way to egress," thinking that many people would know what the word egress meant. And he had a one-way door there. So you'd step through the door and couldn't get back in.
You can go to see the egress, and egress means exit.
A little too close to the bone for me, because I told this story many times. When I was hitchhiking in Canada, I spent a lot of time looking for Sortie on the map. It said exit Sortie.
Yeah.
You look at the map, for an hour trying to find Sortie.
Oh.
That's the experience I'm looking for. I'm looking to hand out that experience to other people. So if anybody knows another word for the point on a hike when you turn around, please send us email.
Or if you know Rich Hall, give us some
Or if you
contact
know Rich
information.
Hall. Yeah, some sniglet version.
Is Rich Hall still working?
I hope so.
He'd moved to England, I knew.
He did a video that you can't seem to find anymore called Wingtips, which was a very funny movie for SNL. And I can't seem to find any copies of it anywhere.
Oh, shoot.
He was dating an ex-girlfriend of mine.
Ah.
Right after we broke up, she went from me to Rich Hall. So everybody in unison saying, "Trade it up."
Is Rich Hall taller than you?
No,
He's not. Because he's tall, isn't he?
not particularly. I think like 6 foot.
Okay, so tall guy.
Tell us about Fool Us there, Matt Donnelly.
All right. When we last left off, we were going to episode 9 of this season, which is the last one for September. Oh, October's right on the corner. So the last 4 episodes of this season finish out in October. So in this one, it opened up with definitely my favorite act of the season and possibly yours. A guy from Uruguay, Daniel K. Do you remember this act at all? I'll remind you. He had someone come up and he did he had thumb cuffs and a deck of cards and a handkerchief, and this is just super clean act where he had someone select the card. Allison locks up his hands in thumb cuffs. He did the usual routines of suddenly he's out of the thumb cuffs and adjusts the handkerchief and everything else. But really, without anyone noticing, he handed the deck of cards to Allison and told her that all the cards are gone except for one card to shake it. She shakes it. It's not a card, and she looks confused. She opens up the deck, and the thumb cuffs are inside the deck. And then they remove the handkerchief, and his thumbs were through the card selected by the person.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Such a clean act. He was such a charming performer, and it was just it crushed. And it was such a good solid act from start to finish. And those things are just so hard to write and figure out. It was really well done.
That sounds great.
Then we had Yukahiro Katayama. And it was one of those weird things where you had actually seen him perform at a festival, and a magic festival. And he was the one you told the story in Penn Sunday School where you kept bowing and he kept bowing and you didn't know who stops.
I tried to tell him at the recording that I told that story on Sunday School.
Yeah.
Did not go well.
He does not speak a lot of English. And I hosted, it was the only time I've done this, but I hosted an audition session where I did Q&A with Andrew and Lincoln in between people auditioning for the show. And he was on last in that lineup. And it was so good, but I also don't understand the manipulation acts like that at all. So he did a thing where he had constant changing colored cards in a wine glass. And this beautiful performance. Great routine. And when he auditioned, I was like, oh, I've seen beautiful manipulation acts. This seems as strong as any I've seen. I don't know how the show judges it. So I was just happy to see him show up at the show. And he was happy to just show up at the show because I got to talk to him backstage at his audition.
As far as I can tell, he's happy about everything. He's probably happy about COVID.
Well, we documented last week that we had a guy doing a cube act from Japan, and he really wanted to.
Cube, wasn't it?
Yes, a Rubik's Cube. And he wanted to be the first fool from Japan. He did not fool you guys. Yukahiro Katayama did fool you guys, and I was very surprised. And so was Yukahiro. He had no plans on fooling you. He just wanted to do his beautiful act for television, but he did do stuff and manipulation that you guys hadn't seen before.
We hadn't seen well, I was going to just say how it was done, but I better not. It did have
there's a distinguishing type of glass you can get at manipulation that he did not use.
Right. We thought it was a mirror glass, and it wasn't.
Right. And so it was a neat moment. And as you guys don't often poke at those America's Got Talent level of drama and emotion, but Yukahiro's reaction to getting a foolish trophy made anyone who watched bawl their eyes out. So
it was wonderful.
Yeah, you got that going.
And my daughter loves him. She saw him at the Badge convention. She saw him there, and she just thinks he's the best.
Yeah, he is great. You brought back on the show a fellow, Andrew Evans, out of San Francisco. And he brought on a particular type of a kind of a light box, I guess you'd say. He brought his volunteer laid across the box. He had a light that could go into the box.
Oh, yeah.
Wave around, and then it was kind of like a sawed in half routine without the saw, but just her torso was disappearing and reappearing. And then you guys got into it a little bit, and it was a little strange. It was one of those things where when people take the show seriously, or you're just so much of a magic nerd, it was definitely you guys were the kind of thing that you think the show's about, but the producers love to tell you it's definitely not what the show's about. When people go back and forth with really hinted magic terms back and forth, trying to nitpick each other, it really just makes the average audience go like, "What?" But he thought he had come up with a new way of doing something. You guys.
Well, he had. It's just someone else had too before him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. People do sincerely come up with someone else's joke on their own. That happens.
Yes.
And you do come up with tricks. I mean, there's a lot of guys that'll show up at a magic convention with an entire routine that they invented from scratch, and they're telling the truth. You've seen that, right, Reddy?
Yes.
They invented palming on their own.
Yeah. And so he did not fool you. It was a really cool looking illusion for sure. And he's the second time on the show, and his craftsmanship and magic thinking is fantastic. It was a tough moment for the on the Fool Us. Then we had David Stone, who I would find out is actually known as a renowned coin guy. You would not know it from the act that he did on your show. He had 1,000 props, a lot of phases, including one with like a cooler that just said Oregon on it. And like he did a stolen credit card to a possible location with every sight gag imaginable. He dropped a blade into his foot. He had all kinds of jacket gags. There was a credit card processing machine he had the Paul V. Hill coat. I mean, he had. It was like it's like someone told him he was on Fool Us the morning of, and he went to like the best magic shop in town. He came on and did the stuff, but it was really fantastic because it was a really quirky act, and he's from France, and his comedy translated, which is its own feat. And it was this outlandish. He wasn't
speaking Gravelocks or whatever that is.
Yeah. No. And he was so carefree and quirky, and then it was just only fun to find out that he's one of the most like renowned and precise coin magicians there is out there. But he came on and did, I guess what we call a TV-friendly magic trick. Did an outlandish magic trick. And then Penn and Teller, you guys performed Placebo.
Oh, I love that bit. I was really proud of that.
That was one where you guys both have do mirrored chop cupping routine.
And now that you said the words chop cup, anyone who wants to know how we did it can look it up.
Should I not have said?
He did say chop cupping, which is going to take them somewhere else.
What I meant to say was you and Teller doing a dual lemon party.
It was a chop cup routine.
Yeah. So what was fun about being behind the scenes was Teller and you working on this trick and being okay with it until you found pharmaceutical pills with gyroscopes in it. And then you guys were
with it until
just okay with it. And then all of a sudden you found pills that had gyroscopes in it, and then you guys were over the moon with this routine. And you guys were stopping people in the hallway and showing people the pills in the hallway. People who hadn't seen the trick and didn't understand the setup. So they're like, yeah, that pill's standing up on its own. That's true.
We were very happy. Very happy. And we discovered we could load it in upside down, lift up the cup, and it would flip. Oh, we were so excited.
But this is actually because you thought it was the plate spinning Sunday's episode or this episode? You guys talked about plate spinning. Oh yeah. So you talked about like your practice of with Fool Us. Last year was back surgery. This year, because of COVID, you have to kind of outsource your labor, right? Yes. And so you did this for this one.
The way we put together Placebo, I love this. One of my favorite ways we've ever worked. Teller likes to niggle. Can we take 1 millimeter off the fiberglass pole? Teller likes to niggle, and I hate him. So when we're in a room and he's saying, maybe use your left hand to go to the pocket, I go, fuck you. I learned my right hand. We're not changing it. Fuck you. I am so conservative. If I've learned something, I don't want to change it. Fuck you. I'll cover it with a line. I'll say I'm using my left hand for some reason. I'll make a joke. So Teller, boy, was this a good idea. I wrote the outline for the basic beats, but not pattern, just the basic beats. This is the idea that a magic wand is a placebo. And placebos work even if you don't believe in them, if you know it's a placebo, which is incredible, right? How do you even test that? But you can say to someone, this pill does nothing, but it's a placebo. And if you believe in it, it'll help you, and it can help you. It's amazing. So I had the analogy to a magic wand, which you know isn't doing anything, but you need it for the trick. So I wrote out a beat sheet. And then Teller hired 2 sleight of hand guys and brought them into rehearsal. And then Teller and the 2 guys worked for 2 weeks. With Teller going, no, use your left hand, now use your right hand, now hand it over there, now pick it up like this, now a smaller table, now a bigger table, now do this, now do that, now do this, now do that. Then when he was finally happy, he videoed it with no pattern. They went through the routine. And then I watched the routine and I wrote pattern to it. And then we made a few little adjustments. Teller taught that to the guys. And then when it was all set and ready to go, they taught me my part.
That's pretty great.
Really smart way to work.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like when someone writes the whole song first and the lyrics last. Like it's kind of, it's different than you think the way it would go, but that's really fun. So plate spinning kind of is going a little bit that way for you, a little bit, but you still do a lot of work on plate spinning.
Yeah, but that's juggling. I don't mind learning that. But it does strike me the difference between learning something as a child and learning something as an adult is so heartbreaking. You know, when you're learning guitar and you're 11 years old, 12 years old, as Springsteen said, I want to get your attention. You look like you were fading.
Thank you.
Springsteen said you learn an E chord. And you run around for a week going E chord, E chord, E chord, E chord. I'm playing an E, I'm playing an E, I'm playing an E, I'm playing an E. That's all you do.
Yeah.
And when we first learned to juggle, Godot, you know this.
Yeah.
You just started learning. No idea what you're trying to do. Not that you're trying to improve. Can I do this now for an hour? Can I do this while running upstairs? Can I do this while turning around?
Yeah.
But when you learn,
when
you learn as an adult, you go, okay, E chord, I've got that. Now what's the next chord I can learn?
Right.
Oh, that was C chord. Let me learn that. Then go back and do the E chord. So if I were learning plate spinning when I was 12, it would have been just 50 hours of Now Jason Garfield, great juggling teacher, fabulous juggling teacher, great juggling coach, and also great bodybuilder and diet guy. He's taken 35 pounds off me the past couple of months. Jason Garfield got really mad when I said to him, I just believe that sloppy learning gives you something. He says, yeah, it takes away your time. That's all it does. You should never be practicing when you aren't practicing the most efficient way possible. I said, I don't know. I believe that my 3-club juggling is better because I never worked on it. I just did it. What do you think, Godot?
I think that's true. You're just discovering what works for you and what brings you the fun, what feels good. And that's a lot of what juggling is.
And learning as a child is a whole wonderful, special thing. I don't think you can get it back. It's like music, you know. I listened to Revolver 1,000 times, 5,000 times. I'm not going to listen to any modern song that much. The new Dylan, Rough and Rowdy Ways.
Yeah.
I've listened to that a lot, which is probably a dozen times all the way through.
Right.
If Rough and Rowdy Ways had come out when I was 17, it would have been 1,000. Would have been 1,000 times. I've listened to Blood on the Tracks, Blonde on Blonde, 1,000 times, more than 1,000, all the way through. And you just don't get that kind of learning. You become more efficient. And I believe something is lost in the efficiency. Because when I listen to Blonde on Blonde, first 24 times I'm listening, I'm just digging it, letting it roll over me. Now I listen to a song, my children find a song by somebody they want to play me, Billie Eilish or something, and I listen for the lyrics, the rhyme structure. Oh, that's how it's produced. Oh, those are the chords. It's an adult kind of learning.
Right.
I can't listen to a song the way I did when I was young.
Well, it's also the comic thing. Now someone says something really funny, you go, well, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more frustrating to my family than me saying that rather than laughing.
Right. Yeah.
I want to mention an artist here that you guys aren't literate in, but Leo Kottke, fingerstyle guitarist, a seminal album in the 70s for 6 and 12 string guitar. Everybody who does fingerstyle guitar knows that album. There's a song called Ojo, O-J-O. You could find the version of it from that era online. And then you could find another version in the 80s after he had a hand injury and couldn't play the way that he originally learned fingerstyle, the way most bands the raw way. And he went and relearned everything classical style. And it's 2 completely different songs. One of them is very adult, and one of them is very in the heart.
Yeah, I just think that Jason is an incredible coach. He gets people through 5 clubs and 5 club back crosses and works with them. But I just believe that that some of the heart is lost. Lou Reed was taking lessons in Scotty Moore, Elvis's guitar player. He was taking lessons in that style of guitar. And that is going to be different when Lou learned that as an adult than the style he played with the Velvet Underground, which he learned as a child.
Do you want to listen to Eddie Van Halen play guitar, or do you want to listen to the guy who's had 10 years of experience copying Eddie Van Halen and has it perfect?
Yeah, exactly. We also see a little bit of that with Dweezil Zappa playing his father's stuff. Dweezil plays better than Frank, but there's something to be said for hearing the composer play it.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I always think to look
I
out
want
for.
to point out that I started with me learning plate spinning on this. And now and Zappa. I want to see how pretentious I can actually be. Go ahead.
We often, like when I was coming up in the New York comedy scene, people were way more interested in seeing me and my groups when we were figuring things out versus when we were totally proficient. People didn't want to come. And I also think that comes from people use a lot of empathy when they like art, and so a lot of times, whether they want to or not, they're identifying with the story. I mean, you talk about Dylan put out an album where he sang perfectly on all these Sinatra songs and stuff. I mean, that's still not going to be blood on the tracks to people, And I think oftentimes when things are imperfect and we love them,
You've come up with the worst example possible, because a lot of the tracks, the folklore around it was that Bob went through a divorce. He went to New York, got his guitar, poured out his heart, brought a band in. They went through and poured out their hearts, played this incredible record. And only in the past 20 years, we found out that Bob had 3 notebooks that he worked on a song. And really, there is not a word on the album that hasn't been crossed out and replaced 3 or 4 times.
Right,
And
right.
he recorded in New York and then didn't like the way it sounded and then did it a whole different time in Minnesota. So when you're someone like Bob Dylan, you're able to find a way to get to the heart no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
That means one take, you do it in one take. If that means careful crafting, you do it in careful crafting. And like so many things you talk about in art, the answer is always, anyways, the only way.
Right. Totally.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I was only going to speak to like when we like something that we know is imperfect, it actually deepens our love for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think cold execution sometimes is can be a turnoff for that reason.
I'll tell you one thing. Penn Sunday School delivers that. And if you like that kind of thing, go to Patreon, patreon.com and /Penn. And we're going to be doing a Patreon thing. It's wicked cheap. Get rid of the ads, give you the whole back catalog. And we're also going to give you my writing. We talked about this on the phone. If I put it out on Patreon for just the subscribers, does not change the copyright. So I'm going to be putting out short stories that will be published maybe a year or 2 from now. You'll be getting right on Patreon right away.
Yeah.
In the rough draft form before an editor's gone over them and fixed the spelling mistakes of chandelier. I think we've covered everything.
I think so.
Don't you? No one's playing anywhere. So yeah, tomorrow I start with the teller next season to fool us. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
Become
all
naked.
angels sang and round us rang the music of the spheres.
That was Penn Sunday School.
I was trying to think of something absolutely perfect.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Wish you well. I mean, to rehearse the good teller. 2 weeks. Cage match.
I'm going to go drop off the plate.
That was Penn Sunday School.
You know we love you.